Hello, Allie.
Hello. We're back finally after our little hiatus.
Yeah.
So welcome back to Liverpool, USA, a best friends podcast, because we're best friends.
Yeah.
And, you know, we never shut up about one thing, and that is Dan Campbell's
Yeah.
body of work.
Yeah, we've spoken at length about the Wonder Years, and now that we've done that and exhausted that, at least somewhat, we now must move on to Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties.
Yeah. So I feel like we should just sort of give like a little bit of a background of the lore,
Okay.
because there is lore to discuss.
Yes, there is. Yeah. I think there's
Um,
our lore and the band's lore. So, like,
yeah.
our lore is like, I mean, you'll have to tell your part, but I heard about Aaron West. I probably knew about Aaron West since about maybe like, I don't remember when the first album was released, like 2014, but that's when I was getting into
Yeah.
the Wonder Years. And so I know that I probably heard about Aaron West. Unfortunately, when I went and saw the Wonder Years at Warped Tour around that time, I did not see Aaron West's little acoustic show
Mm,
at Warped Tour because I didn't really, I wasn't like they weren't on my radar yet. But then in college, a person who I made friends with, Brennan, who we became friends because they are a Wonder Years fan. And my sister was like, hey, there's this person in my French class that has Wonder Years merch. And I'm like, oh, friend time. And then they introduced me to Aaron West officially by like I remember specifically they like played the first CD in their old like little pickup truck. Like that is my memory of that. And so it's from then that I'm like, okay, I'm also now a fan of Aaron West. So that's like my personal
mm.
like lore. When did you first discover Aaron West?
Sort of similar story. I was like a fan of the Wonder Years, first, of course, and then it was like right around like I don't know, maybe 2016, I
Mhm.
would say. And I was just on, I think, Spotify or like something like that. And of course, because it's the same man, it like recommends,
Mhm.
Aaron West. If you're like listening to the Wonder Years a ton, it'll be like, here, listen to this. And so the first time I heard like a song by Aaron West, I remember being like, this sounds like Dan Campbell,
Yeah.
or like it
Uh-huh.
sounds like the Wonder Years, but not, it's like the
Uh-huh.
voice sounds the same. So I literally like looked it up. I was like, what is this band? Why do they sound like the Wonder Years? And then like went down kind of a little rabbit hole where I was like, oh my God, it's like the same guy. Why is he going by a different name? I thought his name was Dan
Mhm.
Campbell. Like
Uh-huh.
literally just like confused, like who is this man? And so then I just like was doing Googling and figured it all out. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then I started listening
Yeah,
to
great.
Aaron
Okay, so
West.
like probably about the same time as when we started actively listening, which is kind of cute that we did that separately.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
yeah, and so that's like our lore and they've released 3 albums now and Aaron West is basically Dan Campbell like he said in this podcast. I don't know if you've heard it yet. I don't remember if you have, but like their newest album that was released, he did like a 5-part podcast where he talked about with this like music journalist some of the songs from the new album, and he kind of mentioned the backstory to Aaron West, which is that he pitched it to the label and he wanted to do this project because he wanted to learn how to play guitar.
Hmm.
And then he kind of invented the story of Aaron West. So, what I think is kind of cool about it is it's a fictional story, but it's rooted somewhat in fact. And I think in the beginning, it like kind of wasn't. He was just like, I'm going to make up a story about a fictional man called Aaron West. But then
Hmm.
as he started playing shows and started realizing, like, oh, this is probably not just a one album thing, he's like, okay, well, I played shows as Aaron West playing Aaron West music, so now Aaron West plays
Hmm.
shows and he plays music. So then when he wrote more songs, he was incorporating, like, if Aaron West went on tour and something happened on tour, that would happen in the songs that he would write. So it kind of became, like, interwoven with real life. Um, And so now they're on their third album. um but yeah, Aaron West, it's cool to me that he'll like be Aaron at shows. Like other people
Yeah.
will like on stage will like refer to him as Aaron. He'll sign stuff as Aaron. I don't usually bring like a purse to shows, but I was like, this one's gonna
Hmm.
be not rowdy. And I wanted to bring because I got like the album pre-order and it came with that little like
Hmm.
paper journal. Did you get that too?
No.
I did like a vinyl pre-order and it came with this was like I forgot that I like got it because it was, you know, pre-order from like a long time ago. um
Yeah.
and it came with a little paper printed like journal. It's very low key. It's kind of like zine-esque, like pages like stapled
Yeah.
together, and it has like a paper purple cover, and it just says I think it's 2019 to 2023. I don't have it with me, but it just has like that year like written on the front or in a font that like looks like it's written, and then it's just a handful of pages inside of like handwriting script font, set up like Aaron West journal. And so it kind of has like
Okay.
a little bit more plot and backstory to like stuff that's on the albums. It's like he's writing this journal as the events of the albums are happening. And
Yeah.
I'm like, it would be really cool if I brought this and he could sign it. And it like was too big to fit in a pocket, so I brought a purse to bring it. And we went up and like bought merch, and he just sits there at the merch table,
Yeah.
which is super sweet. And is just like the nicest guy ever. And like and
Hmm.
signed it, and he actually took it from me, and he was like, I know I'm like digressing a little bit, but we'll get back we'll get back to plot.
Yeah.
He took it and was like, can I actually see that for a second? I'm like, yeah, sure, yeah. So he like opens it and starts like flipping through the pages a little bit, and then like gives it, he's like, I just want to check something, and then he's like, okay, and he gives it back, and I wasn't gonna say anything. I was like, okay, but then Justin was like, everything look good? And he was like, yeah, I was checking the font because the font style is supposed to mimic John Allison Weiss. I did not know who this person was.
It's
um
AW.
it's AW. Oh my gosh, you're
Yeah.
right. Oh my god, I could have said that I recognize that. Anyway, um he was like, it's supposed to be mimic John Allison Weiss's handwriting. The font is, but the font didn't have punctuation, so I asked them to make the punctuation to like kind of match the writing a little bit. And I was like, oh well, when I read it, it was fine, everything, I didn't notice anything weird, it was smooth. He's like, okay, awesome. So he just wanted to like check the font. I guess they didn't give him one. I don't know. I was like, oh, all right. Well, is
Okay.
I didn't ask, you know, because I left, because, you know, I wasn't gonna like stand there all day. But I'm like, they didn't
Yeah.
give you one of these. You haven't seen it yet. Like, am I the first person to bring one? But anyway, like last show on tour. So that was a little
Yeah.
snippet too. But you know, he signed it as Aaron West, I think, is like kind of where I was going with
Yes.
that. So, do you want me to kind of like say a little bit of the plot to the music, or like how do you want to do
Yeah.
that?
I mean, well, who is the other person that has like famously done like a character side project? I like know, but I don't. Is it like Garth Brooks or someone?
I do not know. I could not tell you.
Ugh. I was like
Yeah.
trying to Google it, but I just like couldn't
Mm-hmm.
Google the correct thing. But like somebody else famously has done this, and I think it's like a country singer who like like, you know, had their career in their actual name, and then did like a side project under like a different name, but like fully committed to the bit, and like performed as that person, and like you know, had a whole different like backstory.
I feel like I should know who you're talking about. I'm like a fake music fan for not knowing who you're talking about, but
That's
like
how
I
I feel
believe
right now
you.
too, because I'm like, I really should know like who this is, but I just like can't. I just don't know who it is.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think it was from the 70s or 80s, and I think it was a country singer, and that's as good as I've got. But I
Mm-hmm.
know that somebody else has famously done this, and I know that that's part of the inspiration for
Mm.
Aaron West. And specifically not just like releasing it under a different name or like a pen name or something, but having a whole different character, and like performing as that character, and having lore, and yeah, sort of like acting as though that is like true fact,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of like not getting meta with it. Like he doesn't ever say like, I'm Dan Campbell, or like this is, my side
Yeah. At
project,
the end,
or
he
like
literally said, I'm Aaron West or something like that. Like, this has been Aaron West or I've been Aaron West. Like, he
mhm,
literally, like, he said that. So, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Which yeah, I think it's really cool. He like I know he's talked about in interviews and stuff as well, like how he gets into character and how because I think someone asked him a long time ago because he did a cover of All Too Well by Taylor Swift like a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
As like just Dan Campbell, like not the Wonder Years, not Aaron West, like just Dan Campbell released it, and it's like just Dan Campbell. And someone was like, "Will you play that like cover of All Too Well like at an Aaron West show?" Because it's like it kind of wouldn't fit with like a Wonder Years show, but it like
Mm,
might fit with
mm-hmm.
an Aaron West show. And he literally said no because Dan Campbell did that, not Aaron West.
Mm, yeah.
Like, so I'm not gonna do that because it would like break character. And he's like, and I don't break character on stage. It's like it's all very like well thought out, and he is in character the whole time, which I think
I
is
admire
really
that.
cool.
Yeah. I think that's super
Yeah.
cool. I think that's such a cool, fun idea. Um, yeah. So, like, I know that, like, the story of Aaron West is on the first album is all about him separating from his wife. I can't tell how
Mhm.
young he is, but it sounds like he's pretty young in this
Yeah.
story. Um,
Yeah.
and so, like, basically, he separates from his wife, and it sounds like what really triggered it is, she had a miscarriage, I think. And,
Mm-hmm.
and then he, like, gets depressed. Um, and then, is that just, like, just the first album? Does he run to LA yet in the first album? Or is that the second album?
I think that's
It
in the
all kind
second
of
album.
runs together. Yeah.
Yeah. I
So,
feel like in the second album is when he like starts kind of
yeah,
being a
because he had
musician
to
about it.
establish that he was a musician. So the second album, he runs to LA. He finds this apartment, like a Craigslist ad that for a roommate. So he moves in with a woman called Rosa. And they become like close friends. And then Rosa like moves out to move in with her boyfriend. He moves back home, but they encourage him, or he moves out, but they encourage him to start playing music. So he starts
Hmm.
going to open mics, and they start trying to find like people to play with him in a band. Um, and throughout all of this, significantly, he develops an alcohol problem,
Yes.
like a pretty
Hmm.
bad, like alcoholic problem. Um, and so after they move out, he move. Where does he go after LA?
He goes home
He goes
to
home because his
like
sister's
Catherine's
husband
house.
because his sister's husband passes away, or he gets really sick and then he
Yeah.
passes away. So then he goes home. Um, and then he starts to develop like a closer relationship with his nephew, Colin.
Mhm.
Um, and then what happens after that? I don't want to like skip anything really significant. He still plays music.
Yeah, I mean, I think the second album kind of ends on that note
Yeah.
of just kind of like going home and trying to like make things right with his sister and Colin and like
His mom.
maybe yeah, and maybe try to like still do the music thing but also like not mess it up because he's kind of been like messing it up a little bit because of the alcoholism.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
then I guess it's the third album that
mhm,
they go to England. They do like an
mhm.
England tour. And he was doing okay with the alcohol thing, and then he like gets back into the alcohol thing, and then um he goes back home, he gets another job, the label's being weird, and they won't like give them the go to make another album and tour, so they're kind of in a limbo. So then they book these shows, they go to LA to like play for the label, and it's gonna be really awesome. And like Rose is there, he hasn't seen her in like a decade or something ridiculous like that, and he totally gets drunk and screws it all up, and then his band kind of like abandons him there. And then his sister is like, I'm not gonna let you like die like this, so she kind of helps him get home, and then he goes to rehab.
He goes to rehab, and there's like a song where he like screams against the walls of
Singing at
the
brick
or
walls,
sings and
yeah.
screams against the walls of the rehab center, and
Mm-hmm.
then he like gets some clarity, and then they like get the band back together, kind of.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a very, very rough. And I guess the very last song on the very newest album, which like we have to talk about, is
Yeah.
he's like walking. It's back in his hometown, so he's back at home, and there's kind of there's so many themes that run through all of this music, like so
Hmm.
creatively and beautifully that you'll hear pop up, and I think such like subtle like really artistic ways. But the very last song on the very newest album is he's walking along on like a sidewalk, and he hears like a rustling of leaves, and there's kind of a thing where he'll like look back. He has this habit of looking back, like he thinks Diane is going to be, because at this point I feel like he's kind of moved on from Diane. He has a lot of other stuff happening in his life.
There's like
There's
another
like
girl named
another love
Sam.
interest. Actually,
Yeah.
I will point out that there are never pronouns other than they
Okay.
used for Sam, which I
Okay.
noticed because when I first
Okay.
heard Sam's name, I thought it was maybe like a childhood guy friend, because Sam is like
Hmm.
an androgynous name, and I just thought, oh, maybe this is like a guy
Yeah.
friend. But then as Sam was brought up more, I'm like, oh no, Sam is kind of like a love interest character, kind of. But I noticed significantly, and in the journal, he only refers to Sam as they. So,
Okay. Well, go
yeah,
off.
yeah, and so yeah, so like that happens. So, but he's still like that doesn't go well, to say the least. So he's
Yeah.
obviously not. He hasn't been romantic with anybody else, but is like maybe kind of over Diane. It's been a long time. He still sings songs about her, but it's like whatever. And but then in this last song, he hears these leaves and he looks back, reflexively, but he sees who I think is Diane. It could only be Diane. He doesn't say
It
it,
has to
but
be.
it has
Well,
to be.
especially because
There's no one else it could be. She's
like
pushing a
the
stroller with a
pushing a
baby.
stroller, yeah, it has
Yeah,
to be.
yeah. It like the first. Okay, so I think before I go on, that is a very, very rough, very short, like non-detailed, like that's the main, I think, like storyline of Aaron West. Like that's the story.
Yeah. Yeah, basically he just like goes through it,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
he goes through it a
um
lot.
it's in a very specific, I guess, I don't know if genre or aesthetic, or like
Yeah.
it is very like Midwest.
Yeah, it's a very Midwest working class story.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. And I think that's interesting, and I think it's well done. And I
Mhm.
think it's interesting that Dan Campbell felt called to tell a story like
Yeah.
that, because from what I can understand, that is not it is not Dan Campbell's life that he's writing about
Mhm.
in most ways.
Yeah.
Like he has not gone through most of the things that he talks about in Aaron West's story.
Yeah, 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 which is interesting because you can tell, or at least like if you listen to the Wonder Years music, they're not as transparent. Like they're not writing like Aaron West does, where it's like this is literally things that are everything that's happening in my life. Like the Wonder Years is more subtle
Yeah.
about it, but you can
Hmm.
tell like obviously Dan has experienced significant loss in his life. He's experienced hardship. He's experienced heartbreak. Like you know that he has, but it's also, I think, fairly obvious that not in the exact way that Aaron West has. He has not experienced the exact
No.
things that Aaron West has. But
No.
I think that, like, just similarly in the way that the Wonder Years can talk a little bit specifically about specific types of, like, themes, um,
Hmm.
but even if they are specific, it's still like you can still empathize with it. I feel like it still conveys an emotion that you can relate to, even if you can't relate to like the specific thing that they're singing about. I think Aaron West does that too, even though Aaron West is singing about very specific things. It
Hmm.
still like conveys a kind of like you it's really easy to feel sympathetic or empathetic towards the emotions that he conveys, even though like it's very, very specific scenarios. I think they're both really good. Like both of these projects are like really good at that. Um yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's interesting. So I went to the concert on Thursday night, and you
Yes.
went on Friday night, and we both went with our partners, and I'm interested to hear about what Justin thought as well. But I'll just
Mhm.
say for Abe, like he, of course, knew the Wonder Years mostly through me. Like I was the one who like kind of got him into all of that, and then Aaron West, like he always has known that Aaron West is like Dan Campbell. He didn't like discover it
Mhm.
on his own.
Mhm.
Anyway, so he hasn't listened to it like a ton, but he has listened to it some, mostly just because I play it all the time and stuff. But at the show and after the show, he told me that he has a harder time, like I guess, relating to Aaron West because it's so specific. He was like, "Well,
Oh, uh-huh.
I don't know, I can relate like Wonder Years songs to my life, but like
Mhm.
he's like, I've never had like someone go through a miscarriage. I've never like been
Yeah.
divorced. Like I
Mhm.
don't know how to like relate to some of those songs." He's like, "I'm not an alcoholic. Like I don't know how to, relate to
Yeah.
this."
Uh-huh.
Um and so that was interesting to me because I kind of feel the opposite. I feel like I feel more emotionally moved by some of Aaron West's songs than I do by Wonder Years songs in like really specific ways. And I probably relate to Aaron West even less than Abe does. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like we are different in like gender, different in lived experience, different in geographical location, different,
yeah,
like yeah,
different
I
in pretty
totally
much
get
like every way.
yeah.
But for some reason, like I'm crying to Aaron West songs more than I'm crying to Wonder Years songs.
I wonder now I'm thinking about like yeah, which one have I cried more to? I don't know. I feel like I might not feel the exact same as you. Like
Yeah,
I think that emotionally I do connect with the Wonder Years more. Um but it's kind of like it's interesting to think about. Like I never really thought about it that way. So I'm like, yeah, I still
really
do.
different.
Yeah, it's for sure different, but like in a similar way. Um, I definitely do like I was just saying. It's like even though you haven't experienced these things, he does such a good job at storytelling in a way that makes you, you know, empathize. So yeah, and now like Justin has not talked. I should ask him now. I have not really discussed like that specifically with him. Like he
Mm-hmm.
kind of he definitely didn't know Aaron West like before me or anything. Like I definitely introduced him. Um and but I haven't really, now that I think about it, I haven't really talked to him too much about like exactly what he thinks. Like I know that he had a good time and I know that he enjoys
Mm-hmm.
the music, but yeah, I'm like I want to like ask him more about like okay, content-wise. Like what do we haven't really
Yeah.
talked about it too much. But I really want to hear. Okay, so I feel like we should share our stories and you went first, so I want to hear about your night first.
Okay.
So what do you have to say about it? I want to hear about it.
So I'll just like give sort of the background of like our experience. We left Bellingham. We had to go to Seattle. So that's like a little bit of a drive for us. So we're like driving. Abe is really specific about he does not want to know the set list
Mm.
like before we arrive. I am the opposite. I like to know the set list before we arrive. So we are different in that way. So I knew the set list. He did not,
Wasn't the
and
set list
he
kind of changing? Sorry to interrupt already, but wasn't it
no, go
kind
ahead.
of different? I feel like I was trying to look it up and there wasn't like a consistent set list.
Um, I I guess I don't know 100% because I have not like checked this, but
Hmm.
I like looked at a set list from like the night before, and then I feel like it was like the same, or at least maybe there's like
Okay.
one or two changes, but like pretty much the same for
Okay.
like it was like what I expected was
Yeah.
on there. Um and I will say I guess I'll get to this. There was one significant set list change that I'll tell you about.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, so like I knew the set list. And so I was kind of like, should we like listen to some Aaron West like on the drive? Because also sometimes that helps if like Abe doesn't know the artist as well, like hearing the songs like right before we go kind
Mm.
of
Mm-hmm.
can help a little bit, especially with stuff that's really like lyric heavy or like the lyrics are important. Um, so we like listened to a couple of songs, and I was kind of steering us actually towards listening to some of the songs that weren't on the set list, just to like be like, this is the vibe, but not like the exact songs that we might hear. So it was kind of good. We like listened to that and like had a good little drive down. And then I started to get kind of stressed out because I just always do.
Oh, yeah.
um, where it's like, okay, we have to find parking in Seattle, which is like always a nightmare, and then we have to like figure out like where the venue is, and I like don't like missing the openers, but also I don't like standing and waiting for the openers. It's like both. Um, so we were kind of like deciding if we were gonna like go watch the openers or if we were gonna go a little later, but I was like, also I want to be up close a little bit, and like I don't like to miss the openers. Anyways, and then Abe was like, I think you are just hungry. And I was like, you're probably
Oh
right.
my god.
Um
Relatable.
and so there was this like, so the venue was Numos in Seattle, which was like a pretty small venue. I think I've been there one other time. But literally like attached to the same building, like it's literally like one door over, is this like window, like a food window, but there's like no seating inside. It's literally just a window that you like order from and then like get the food. And it's completely gluten free.
Oh.
And
What are
it's
the chances?
a fried chicken restaurant, gluten free. And so Abe's like, simply, you need to eat. Like,
Yeah.
this is here, you will be eating. And I was like, okay. And so but there's no seating. And also, I didn't want to walk like far away from the venue.
Mm-hmm.
So we literally just like stood on like the sidewalk and like ate this chicken.
How long has it been since you've eaten chicken? Is that like a regular thing for you now?
I would say it's like semi regular.
Okay.
I'm pretty chill about it, but I also don't like, I don't know. I'm pretty like trying to just be chill about it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
When it happens, it just happens,
I'm
and
in a
that's fine. Yeah,
similar spot too, yeah. But without
yeah,
digressing, we could talk about that later.
yes. But so yes, I ate this fried chicken. I immediately felt way less crazy and upset. Which amazing how that happens.
Felt.
And so then we got into the venue. We saw the second opener. We did miss the first opener, which is like the bassist.
Yeah, we
Um,
saw him, yeah.
we did hear him because we were standing right outside the venue eating this chicken. And then we heard him but did not see him. And then we went in, saw the second opener, and then I was like feeling good. We like kind of after the second opener managed to just like get really close to the stage, which was awesome. So we were in a really good spot, feeling good. Um, Aaron West came on. Um, Two things of note that happened during the show that I feel like were specific to the Seattle show is in Bury Me Anywhere Else, there's like a lyric that says the town name Wenatchee,
Hmm.
which is like a town in Washington,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of close to Seattle. I don't know. Anybody from Seattle like knows where Wenatchee is, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways, but in the album recording, he pronounces the name wrong.
You know what? I
Um,
don't know if I ever noticed that, and maybe it's
yeah,
because he pronounces it wrong that I like never really picked up on that lyric.
yeah. He says Wenatchee,
Hmm.
unfortunately. And so I remember, so when he sang it live in Seattle, everyone like kind of screamed like Wenatchee like at that time. Like everyone was like on the same wavelength of knowing that he like pronounces it wrong sometimes, and like everyone was like, in Seattle we're gonna say it right.
Oh my gosh.
So that was very funny, and then
So he like
everyone laughed
noticed. I was gonna
afterwards.
say, okay.
So like, and Dan Campbell or Aaron West,
Uh-huh.
um like laughed also. Because everyone just said Wenatchee.
Yeah.
So that was like a very cute moment. And then later on in the set, he said to the crowd, like, I just want to say something real quick. And like he specifically said that he doesn't say this every night. Don't know if that's true, but he said that he doesn't say it every night. And he specifically thanked the like venue sound staff and said like they sounded really, really, really good, and like
Oh.
um it's like the best they've sounded, and they just like wanted to give like a special shout out to like the venue sound staff for like making them sound really, really good, which like of course they did sound really good. And I don't know how they sounded on other nights, so I don't know if it was like better, but they did sound good. So he like specifically thanked them, and then he said, "Okay, because we sound so good, and because like Seattle is like so here for us or whatever, like we realized that we like didn't come here on the routine maintenance tour, like they just didn't come to Seattle."
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "So we like feel bad," and he was like, "I'm just gonna kind of like go off set list for a sec because you guys didn't get to like hear the routine maintenance tour. I'm just gonna like play one extra song from routine maintenance that like we haven't been playing, but I just like want to play it for you guys." And then he played Bloodied Up in a Bar Fight.
All right.
And it was great. And then he returned to his set list. So yeah, that was great. And also when they played Divorce in the American South, that was like maybe the most I've ever cried at a
Oh.
concert. I think
Oh my
I was
gosh.
like crying. But like how can you not? I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the main concert experience. Then I did go over to the merch table after because he said he was gonna be over there, and I bought a poster, and he signed it, and he looked me in the eyes because I was wearing a Mountain Goats t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked me in the eyes and he went, "I really like that Mountain Goats t-shirt." And I said, "Thank you." And then that was my interaction with him. He just complimented my shirt, and then we kind of left. But
Nice.
yeah, he signed my poster, which was great. And that was
Nice.
my Aaron West experience.
Fantastic. So I had like a little bit of similar things happen, so I'm kind of excited to like tell you what happened at my show. But
Yeah.
first of all, so I've seen Aaron West once before. It was in 2017, and
Mhm.
so it was a tour for their first album. So I
Mhm.
probably heard. I mean, they maybe played every song off their first album. Um,
Yeah.
and it was at Lola's Room in Portland, which is the very, very smaller, like, bar, little venue, on the middle floor of the Crystal Ballroom. Um,
Mhm.
and my friend Brennan, uh, drove me there. We went together. I was already having, like, an emotional day, like, with, like, without getting into, like, details, I was already, like, crying in the car on the way to this venue. And
Yeah.
uh I'm lucky that I went with a friend like Brennan because I just remember that they were like very nice and sweet this whole time. But
Mhm.
so we got to it was not, I mean, I guess I should say it was nothing that was a really big deal.
Right.
I just happened to be crying. But
Very
um
relatable, especially for like 2017, you
yes.
know?
Yeah. So we get there was like a few openers, like they were also played sad songs that I cried for. And I remember being an
Mhm.
awesome show. We were like right in front because it was this tiny venue. It was amazing. So I've seen them before, and I saw them with Brennan, which is significant because earlier this week, because it was like when stuff was announced, I remember either Brennan texted me or I text them and was like, "Hey, like, see what's going on, like see you in Portland." And so earlier this week, I text them again because I'm like, "Hey, I don't know like what you're doing before the show, or like if you're going with anybody else or getting dinner or whatever, but like maybe we can meet up, beforehand, whatever." And they were like, "Actually, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it because I can't buy a ticket right now. I can't afford it right now." And in my brain, I'm like,
Oh,
"What are you talking about? What do you mean you're not going? Hello? Like I would be
yeah.
I would be scrounging for pennies in the sofa." and I expect that you
Yeah.
would be too. Like, what do you mean? So
Yeah.
that's not what I said. I was like, well, first I was immediately like, okay, so this person had, like, in college, not just Aaron West, but a lot of concerts. I didn't drive, and they took me to a lot of concerts in college. Like, we had a lot of, like, really
Yeah.
awesome concert memories, and they were, like, the reason for this. You know, like, I could not do it without them. And I don't really think, like, I don't feel like I ever really, like, returned that favor, or, like, really, like, thanked them in a significant way. So I was like, I immediately was like, I want to buy this person's ticket. I want to buy your ticket. But I I text Justin first. I didn't just like jump on it because Justin was going, you know, he's going to. So I'm like, hey, is it all right if I do this? Because I'm probably gonna offer to like even meet them halfway in like because they live in Corvallis, you know, or like do something. Like I want to offer. I want to go kind of out of my way to try to make this happen for them. And tickets were like $35. I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah.
So, um, uh so I texted him. I was like, I can, you know, you can consider it a thank you. I can get you a ticket if you really want to go. I will even offer, you know, to like pick you up or whatever. And they were like, that's super, super sweet. You know, that's like really, really nice of you. I really appreciate that. That would be really awesome. And, but they're like, I actually just like moved back to Portland. So I'm in Portland. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So like that makes
Even
it
better.
easier. Um,
Yeah.
and we didn't end up meeting like beforehand to get dinner or anything, but I did like I bought them a ticket. I like emailed it to them, you know, and they're like, I want to pay you back when I get paid next week. And you know, I'm like, you really like don't have to, but they want, you know, they want to. I'm like, what, you know, if you want to do that, that's good. But that's like super nice. So I'm like, yeah, you're going. Like, what the hell? I'm like, I know that this is like really
Yeah.
important. Like, they never come around. I know this is like really important to me. I imagine it's also really important to you. And, you know, live
Yeah.
music and concerts and stuff are really important to me. And to be able to like enable that experience for someone else is, you know, like I want to be able to do that. So, you know, so that's that. So Justin and I ended up I was like the one in charge of figuring out dinner. So I'm like, all right, this is my assignment. I have to figure out dinner. And so I decided we were going to eat out. We left a little bit early, and literally right down the street is a Porque No. And it's been a long time since I've been, and I just remembered it recently. I'm like, oh my gosh, let's go to Porque No. So we drive down there. It's like 8 blocks away, so I'm like, maybe I'll park like in between, and then we'll like walk. But of course, it's raining. It's raining the entire time. It does not stop raining yesterday. It's not like pouring, but like it's raining. It counts, you know, it's raining. And so we park just like kind of halfway in between in like some neighborhood. And then we walked to Porque No, and we're wet. It's fine. Whatever. It's Portland. But the line outside was like outside onto the sidewalk for Porque No. And I'm like already kind of stressed out because traffic was really bad. And I'm like, I told Brennan we were going to try to be there at like 6:30. And they were like going to try to meet us there. And I don't know if we're going to be able to eat and get there on time. Like, you know, I'm also like stressing out because, you know, that's how I am. And, but literally right next door to Porque No was a ramen place with no wait. There was like 2 people maybe ordering in front of us. And I was like, let's try this place then. Like, is that cool? Because we do not have time to wait in this line. So we just had ramen instead, and it was really good.
Nice.
So that worked out fine. I also had a little bit of like karaage, like the little Japanese like chicken guys. Like also a side note, also ate a little bit of chicken. Not very much because I thought that the one thing I missed was chicken, and I think it's good and I'll eat a little bit of it, but the texture like gets to me. So anyway, that's like my chicken digression is I haven't I haven't been as relaxed about it because I'll eat it and I'll be like, you know what? Like I'm good. I don't want more of this right now. So anyway, but really good ramen. And then still raining, we walked down to the Hawthorne Theater, and so like a little bit bigger than Lola's Room. They're in a bigger venue this time. And we go in and we meet Brennan. They had like so we get there like just after 6:30 and it started at 7. And Brennan was like, I'm on the left side, like I got us a place on the left side. And it was literally like there was a little barricade, which they didn't used to have a barricade in that venue. When we went there to see Boston Manor, I don't think they had a barricade.
No.
So
my venue didn't have a barricade. We were just like backstage.
I thought it was like kind of weird that they had one actually. I'm not really sure what the like why, but anyway, it was a little one. And we were like at the very end of it cuz it ended kind of where the stage ended. Like if you really wanted to, you could easily just like walk on the other side of it. Like of course they don't want you to, but like we ended up being at the very end cuz they like stood there and there wasn't really too many people standing around, so it was super chill, like pretty cool. We were like, had great little conversation. We were talking for a little bit. We did see the bassist opener. He was pretty cool. Yeah. He was pretty chill. It was nice. And then the second opener, I don't know if was it Pile of Love for you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Brennan like looked them up and it's like a super group. It's got like State Champs, The Story So Far, like other people from bands like that. Which was interesting.
Oh, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah. So that was interesting. And they were super fun. And then Aaron West, of course. And what were the notes that I had? So you mentioned like, I guess like it was in between a couple of the openers that I decided to go up to the merch table because we like figured out that Dan/Aaron was there, so we just like went beforehand and the line was like really short, and like bought like a shirt and whatever and had him sign my journal. So that was like my time that I did that I already talked about. And then he didn't say anything. I was gonna like see if he did, and of course I did this on purpose, but I wore my Wonder Years shirt that I got in England. Because there was a part of me, like, I'm so silly for this, because I don't actually know. I feel like I would notice something like this about other people, which is maybe why I do it, but I don't actually know if anybody even noticed or cared that I was wearing a shirt that had England dates on the back and was a Wonder Years shirt. But that was something, because I'm like, how fun and cool would it be if he really was like, isn't that an England shirt, But he didn't say anything. Whatever, he didn't notice. It's fine. But I did like wear that shirt on purpose.
Nice.
So he did also mention to us, he's like, it's been like multiple times. He's like, it's been way too long since we've been here. We know. So the song that they played, from Routine Maintenance, was "God in the Billboards" for us.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, which I was happy about. I mean, honestly, I'm happy about all of them. Like literally, you could be like, literally, it could have been any of them, and I'd be like, yeah, this is great. So,
Yeah.
But I feel like there was a specific line in "God in the Billboards" that I was like really happy about being able to hear, but I'm not remember exactly what it is right now, but that's fine. The other thing that he did, what was one thing? Oh, he did not say the thing about the sound, so that must have been specific to Seattle. Because he did not say that.
They don't say it every night, but I never know if like people actually mean that.
Yeah. I mean, I thought they sounded amazing, but
I'm sure they did. Yeah.
I wish that we had, because Setlist FM, like I checked today, because Justin was like, I really liked the second song that they played. What was that second song? And I really wish that we could compare our set lists, because I didn't get one. Justin tried. And so I don't have, I don't know, photographic memory or whatever. I don't remember exactly what their set list was, but that's fine.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's Grapefruit.
I think it is too. I think it was too. I forgot.
Our second song was definitely Grapefruit.
Yeah.
Because they did Our Apartment and then Grapefruit.
Yes.
And I feel like I remember that like really specifically.
Yes. And I remember too later, because at first I was like, oh, I think it was this song, and it was like a newer one. He's like, I don't think it was this one, but I told him this morning, I'm like, I'm pretty sure it was Grapefruit. So
yeah.
Which that used to be like my favorite song off the first album too.
Yeah,
it's a good
I get
one.
it.
But He did a little like the cute little lyric thing that happened at our show was they were doing Just Sign the Papers, and
Mm-hmm.
he mixed up the lyrics for the very first verse. So like
No.
most of the first verse he mixed up, like he said like the same thing as like the second verse. At the end of the song he's like, I know I messed up, and he was like, and there could be someone out there that is their favorite lyric and they really wanted to hear it live, and I messed it up. So just him, like not the rest of the band, just him saying just the first verse of that song again, like just to get it right. So
Aw,
like that was sweet. Yeah. Um
that is cute.
I did not cry. It was, you said it was Divorce in the American South that like you cried. That was
Yeah,
probably the closest that I got to probably
yeah.
crying. But for whatever reason, and I think this is kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of funny in a way, I was
Mm-hmm.
smiling too much the entire time to cry. I was just like having
Yeah,
such a good time that it
yeah.
was like so much. If you think about it, so much of the music is so depressing. It's so depressing
I
and
know.
sad. But I was like so smiling so much the whole time that if I would have cried, it
Yeah.
probably would have been like more like happy, sad tears because I was just like smiling so much. So I did
I
not
did
cry, but
I did have that exact feeling during Paying Bills at the End of the World.
oh
Um
yeah, yeah,
because that song like really gets me
yeah.
in like a specific way. I feel like that song I like actually do like relate to in some type of way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that one like really gets me, and it's like about COVID and like
Yeah.
it's just like a lot.
Yeah.
Anyways, um but I was like it was like cuz they play it really early on, or at least they
Mhm.
did.
Mhm.
And so I was still like, "Oh my god, like this is happening. Like he's on stage. Like I'm hype." But then also I was like, "Wait, I'm like about to cry kind of, but like
Yeah.
also not."
I
And I was
totally
like, "Wait."
understand what you mean. I totally understand what you mean. Yeah, I think I had a similar thing because when they played Divorce like in the set list, it was a time where
Mhm.
like I did like I could, if I was going to cry it would have been then. Like as
Yeah.
soon as it started I was like, "Oh, am I going to cry right now?" And I didn't end up crying. But
Yeah.
like, it was like,
Yeah.
yeah. That one, it hits hard. Yeah. I honestly think that I think the last like little note that I remember specifically, unless I like think of anything else, is I was really excited to see. There were songs I was really excited to see, and of course, you know, they all like were so fun, and it was just so fun to like scream the lyrics and you know and all these things. But in lieu of flowers, that song specifically, with the
Yeah.
little like horn riff and
Yeah.
the like yelled like the verse that you like scream, I just lost it. I was just like having the
Yeah.
time of my life. Like that song specifically
Yeah.
was so satisfying to see live and so
It
fun.
was.
Um
It was. That was
yeah.
like the best like closer that they could have done, I think.
They played it before the encore at my
Yeah, that's what they
show.
did for
Yeah,
us.
it was
Yeah,
like
that's
the
what they did.
song and then the encore. What was the encore? It was
For us it was Whiplash and 67 Cherry Red.
yes, yes, that's what it was for us too. I thought 67 Cherry
Mhm.
Red was a really interesting song to pick last because
Yeah.
it's a single. I don't think it's on the
Yeah, it's
in
like
any
not
album,
on, yeah, it's not. It's on that like little like not EP. It's like only 3
right?
songs long or something.
Yeah,
But
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure it just like counts as a single. It's like a like it's not. I
Yeah.
don't even think it's an EP. But yeah. So that but that was cool because I like that song a lot, of course. But like I said, they could have played
Yeah.
any. You know, I'd be happy with any of
I
them.
was surprised that they didn't there's a couple songs that they didn't play that I was kind of like, "Wait."
Yeah, for me that was Spitting in the Wind. Did they play Spitting in the Wind for you?
Yeah, they played Spitting
Yeah, they
in
did
the Wind.
not play that for us. I'm wondering if they replaced it with God in the Billboards, or if they added a
Maybe.
song, like if they added or if they took away. I feel like they would have to replace one. But
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure, unless I'm wildly misremembering,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure they didn't play Spinning in the Wind. Because they played the
Interesting.
song that's like right after that on the album where he's like drunk and he like goes to the fast food
Yeah.
restaurant and falls asleep. I don't remember what that one's called right now. They played that
Yeah.
one.
Interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I was shocked that they didn't play You Ain't No Saint.
Yes. Cuz that was like their encore in that live stream. Yes. That
Yeah.
was surprising.
Yeah.
Because that one
Um,
hits.
and of course, I would have loved if they played any of the other songs from Routine Maintenance that they didn't play, just because
Mm-hmm.
I love that album so much.
Mm-hmm.
But like they did play lots of good songs from that, and there weren't any from Routine Maintenance that I was like, it's absolutely crazy that you didn't play this. I think like You Ain't No Saint is actually kind of crazy that they didn't play it,
Yeah.
but and then yeah, then they played like everything from um In Lieu of Flowers that was like they played most of the songs. Although they had like a merch shirt that's like the catalytic converter, and then they didn't play that song. And I was
Oh
like, okay.
yeah, yeah, the Roman candles one. Yeah, what's
Yeah.
that? What's that one called?
I think
What's
it's
that?
called Roman Candles.
Is it? Oh, it is. It. I know the songs very well, but not all of them. I
Yeah.
could like tell you what the. It's one of those. Oh, the
Yeah.
one that's. Yes, yeah. Because isn't spitting in the wind the I'll see you in the water one? Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't play. Yeah, they didn't play that because Justin bought the sweater that says "I'll
Yeah.
see you in the water" and it has the Brit, which I love that design. By the way,
Yes.
I love
Yeah.
that. I think I like that lyrically. I think that's like so fun. But yeah, that was odd to me that they didn't play that because I'm like I want to yell "I'll see you in the water." Hello.
Yeah, it did go really hard, and they did play it in Seattle, so I'm surprised that they didn't.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if
Um,
that's the song that they replaced and if they replaced a different one for you guys. Like what
maybe.
they decided to do.
Yeah. Um, yeah, but yeah, no, they did not play Roman Candles. Which Abe bought the Roman Candle shirt that says
Oh.
like please don't steal my catalytic converter.
What? I thought it said what?
There was a shirt that said it's like green and it said please don't steal my catalytic converter, like I can't, it's more than I can handle or something
I
like that.
don't think we had that shirt. I think they
Really?
must have like sold out of it in Seattle because we did not have that shirt.
Okay, actually now that you say that, I think that is true because when Abe like got it, they like took it off the wall.
Yeah.
Like they
I felt really bad because when I bought the tour date shirt and I asked
uh-huh.
for a medium and
Uh-huh.
they didn't have mediums, they didn't have smalls. And so he took the large from the wall. And I was
Mhm.
like, actually, can I get it extra large? Because I was like, well, I might as well get a
Mhm.
size that, because Justin was like, let's just get a size that both of us can wear and it just be a look on me, but it would fit him. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. But then he had to take the extra large that he put on the wall, the last extra large, to like put the
Oh
large
God.
back up on the wall. I mean, of course he was nice about it. It wasn't a big deal, but I was like, I'm so sorry. And Justin wanted I think it said like burn out like Roman candle shirt with like the shot glass with the skull in it.
Oh yeah.
That's the one Justin wanted and they didn't have his size. But they
Dang.
did have his
Yeah,
size
they were
in the sweater, so he got the sweater. But I liked the sweater better, so I'm glad he got the sweater.
I just got the poster and then Abe got the green shirt. I'll have to send you a picture of it since they didn't have it at your because it's
Yeah.
funny. It's
Yeah, that
funny.
is really funny.
Um
Okay, so
but
Setlist FM has your set list now, but not mine.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dang. Is there
Yeah.
anything on the Seattle set list that besides Spitting in the Wind that you remember being different from yours?
Um Wait, what was the song that they played? It was Bloodied Up in a Bar Fight.
Mhm.
Nothing on this really stands out to me except for Spitting in the Wind.
Mm.
Like I could be wrong, but like this like makes sense. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe that's the only difference. We'll
yeah,
see
maybe they were just
if my
like,
set
never
list
mind, we don't want to
gets
play it
uploaded.
anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a lovely concert.
It was amazing.
Um,
I'm so happy. I love live music so much. I love when things come around like a circle and I get to like take this friend, that way. And we gave Brennan a ride home, which was also like made me feel better too because
yeah.
I'm like I just want, we walked in the wrong direction to where we thought my car was for like a little while.
Oh, yeah.
Still raining by the way. Then we had to go
Yeah.
back. But it was like just like all around it was just a really good fun night. And I'm sad that we didn't get to experience it together, but I'm really happy that we got to experience it and then like come together and talk about it and have our own experiences. I think
Yeah,
like there's its own like joy in that, I think, being able to do that.
definitely. And yeah, of course, I would love to attend other shows in the future together if we can like make that happen.
Mhm.
But yeah, unfortunately, we just live in different cities and it is hard
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved this concert and the whole experience was very positive
Yeah.
and yeah. Heck yeah.
Yes. So awesome. I think like that's about it.
Yeah, that's pretty much everything I have to say, I think.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've exhausted
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
every possible thing we could have.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess until our next recording, this is us signing off and I love you.
I love you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.